Sorry about that little glitch there, folks. Tonight I have a Fovitec LED panel that I thought you guys would like to take a look at. Um, I've told you about this company before in some of these videos, but I wanted to point them out to you again in case you are new to this program and this forum. Tonight we're going to look at the Fovitec Studio Pro. This is the SP11-009, and it is a video fixture with surface mount LEDs, barn doors, an adjustable yoke for ease of use, and it's a pretty handy little tool for $129.95. So I know it sounds like I'm hawking a piece of gear, but I'm really not. What I'm trying to do is make you folks aware of some products that are out there that you might find useful in lieu of your fluorescent lighting kit, or in addition to your fluorescent lighting kit, and tools that are a little bit more mainstream. Things that we're using now in the big leagues, so to speak. If you want your filmmaking experience to emulate that experience, or if you're trying very hard to work in the same modes that the pros are working, LEDs would be part of that workflow in this day and age. I've got one right here behind me, for instance. This is the Draycast bicolor 1x1 panel. This is 1,000 LEDs in both tungsten and daylight, so you get a bicolor effect by adjusting the dials on the back. You have dimming and color quality. It takes an external battery. This is a nice product. It's well made. It's durable, and it's very practical in terms of its use in the field. But that light is, right now running about, $800, $900. So probably out of the budget range of a lot of you, especially if you're in film school right now and you don't have a lot of cash to throw around, which is why the same company, Fovitec, under the name Studio Pro, the folks that are making your fluorescent 3-light kit with the soft boxes is also the producer of some pretty nice LED products. And this is one of them right here. I want to give it a little bit of room. You're going to share the screen with this little guy. This is the Fovitec SP11/009. And you can see that it has some interesting looking diodes in it, a little bit different than what you guys are looking at in the Draycast back here, which has the glass bead encapsulated diodes. These are cheaper to manufacture. They're also lower wattage, which is why you'll run into fixtures like this that have like 1,000 of them in there, because the output of a glass bead encapsulated diode is typically, wattage wise, is typically a lot lower than a surface mount diode. Now, that's not to say that surface mount diodes don't also come in low wattages, because they do. But that's not the point. The point is, with surface mount diodes, because of the way they work, and we've talked about this before in some of the other LED videos, like for instance with the LED-Z product, for instance, these are surface mount diodes that were optimized for performance via projection using a lens to focus their beams forward and more intensely, instead of the wide 120-degree coverage you get out of a raw surface mount diode without a lens that's optimizing the performance. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. So what does that mean? So this is a hotter, narrower source of light out of this Brute 3, which might be as intense as this light, but it'll be in a smaller area, as opposed to this one, which is going to wash a wider area in a 120-degree trajectory. So it's going to have a real wide, broad map of coverage that it can provide you in daylight balance. This is bicolor, so half the diodes are tungsten and half the diodes are daylight balance, so half the diodes are bluer and half the diodes are oranger in color. And then you combine them in combinations to get total output. This is daylight only, so it's only going to be the blue spectrum of output to match your daylight lighting for indoor day interiors or day exteriors. And this one, unfortunately, does not provide for an onboard battery. However, there is a 12-volt input port where you can plug in a standard power adapter, which comes with the light, by the way. So you can run it off of AC, but this is a 12-volt power port. So if you have a 12-volt battery pack with a standard, this is yellow, so this will be 2.5 by 5.5 barrel 12-volt connector, you can power this via the 12-volt port with a separate external battery. So it is possible to run this off of a battery, but it doesn't come with that provision for the price, which is only $129. So it's a good deal because it's cheap. It has a good quality of light output. It's very powerful. In fact, I can give you maybe a sense of what this is doing. It's quite bright. It changed the entire look of the room by bouncing it off the ceiling. So you can see what kind of a nice quality of light it can give you. But it is pretty bright. It's pretty intense. It does have a dimmer, so you can dial in the intensity that you need. And it comes with some neat accessories. For instance, every professional light presumably wants barn doors. So this guy right here, you can attach the barn doors to these little sort of hard plastic ears, we call them, and just pop the wire frame into the channel in the ear on three sides, on left and right side of the fixture and on the bottom. And it just holds those barn doors in place. And then, of course, you can fly them open. And then, of course, you can execute cuts with your barn doors to keep light off of spilling onto things that you don't want it to spill onto. So that's kind of a nice feature. Another nice feature of this fixture, and I'm going to take these off so you can see what I'm doing, is that it comes with a couple of hard gels, which are just sort of Lexan or plexiglass products. But you can see one is a soft diffusion gel, and this is, of course, a tungsten conversion gel. So the light is daylight balanced the way it is. If we apply this filter, we're going to change the output to tungsten, which is the oranger color spectrum, and this also adds a little diffusion in the process of that, so it'll soften it up a little bit. And on the inside of these ears are some tracks where the gel just sort of drops in place like so, and then when you turn the light on, of course, you get tungsten output instead of daylight output. So that's pretty cool. And there's also the diffusion frame. So you've got the raw diodes here, which are 120 degrees, and that's relatively soft, but still, because they're raw and there's nothing in front of them, they will have sort of a contrast to them that might be a little hard for something that you're doing. So if that's the case, soften it up with some diffusion. Just drop that in the track and go to town, just like that. And it's the same deal. You just shoot through, but this one doesn't change the color quality at all. So you can see how that might be a handy option. You can also put them both in at the same time. You can put the diffusion in the back, or you can put the color in the back, and you can put the other in the front track. Now, the professionals will typically put color in the back, because once we decide whether we want our lights daylight or tungsten, we generally don't change our mind on that feature so much. So we'll put color in the back, and then diffusion is something that we may or may not add for exposure control or for additional softness, whatever the case may be, and diffusion may be applied or removed more frequently than color. So we'll put diffusion on the outside so that we can get it out more quickly when we need to, as opposed to getting behind here and trying to get the other filter out, you know, and struggling while people are waiting on you on set. And of course, once you get all that done, you can, you know, pop your barn doors back on, and you can resume shooting with all of your color and diffusion loaded inside. It's a little bit of a tight fit when you've got all that gel in there at the same time, so the barn doors are a little bit more restricted, but it can be done. So there you go. There's your Fovitec SP11-009. And it sells for, let me show you that website again. It sells for $129. So not bad. It's a good value, and it's a way for you to start, you know, building up a kit for yourself. As a professional, you're going to find that you're going to use a lot of tools. You're going to use more than the tools that you know, you got in college. Your world is going to get much bigger when you get out and start working more, and you're going to want your tools to be a little bit more specific, or a little bit more diversified for the types of work you're going to do. And LEDs are great, man. You can plug 20 of these into the same household circuit, and you won't be popping breakers. They're very energy conscious. And these little guys right here, even though they're kind of vulnerable because they're not protected right on this panel here, this circuit board, if you take care of this fixture, these LEDs will last you for a long time. We're talking tens of thousands of hours of performance with accurate color. So LEDs are a really good product. And it's you know, it's high impact plastic. It's not aluminum like the 1x1 panels that Fovitec's putting out. But, you know, for $129, you can't go wrong. There's other stuff, similar stuff out there on the market if this little guy doesn't do it for you for whatever reason. You can also look at the Neewer product, which I have here. This is a 1x1 with the glass bead encapsulated diodes, so it's similar to the Dracast in many ways. This is maybe 10 inches square, so it's not a true 1x1, but it's got some nice features. It takes soft panels. It has full color control on the back, and it takes the Sony NP970 batteries, which are very cost efficient and energy friendly. They last a long time. And it has a nice handy little sort of carrying case. You can see it has an accessory diffuser and a nice Cordura carrying case. And this product is selling for $109.99 on Amazon Prime right now. And a lot of these will have, let's take a look. Sometimes they have free shipping. It looks like maybe this time there's not free shipping, but Amazon is growing, and they tend to be in every community by now, and so I'm sure there's a distributor near you that can get you the Neewer product fairly quickly without it costing you a huge amount of money in shipping. So that's the LED discussion I had for you tonight, and it kind of ties in with the use of color and the broad projection fixtures that we need for comedy. The 1x1 panels are perfect for that sort of application. But moving forward into the future, I mean, If you have opened up your Fovitec fluorescent kit yet and put the softbox together and put it on a stand and then put the other two together and created a 3-light configuration like you learned in Lighting 1, you'll find that the footprint of that Fovitec kit is pretty large. You need a lot of space to work with those softboxes to get the shape you want, the intensity you want, and get them out of the frame because they're so big to accommodate filming without seeing your lighting. So when these LED panels present themselves with similar output, similar softness quality, and a much smaller footprint, I mean, you can hide this almost anywhere as opposed to trying to hide the big softboxes from the fluorescent kit, and there's no harmful phosphors to worry about breaking. These are glass, but they're quite a bit more durable than the pigtail or corkscrew tubes that come in your kit. So they're worth taking a look at. Not required, but worth taking a look at because I think the LEDs are fun to use, and they are growing in popularity in the industry for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is they're energy conscious, they're green product, they're easy to use, they look just as good as traditional product with a smaller footprint, battery operation. I mean, there's so many good points going for these products. It's hard not to consider them for future projects. So that's it for you. I also have a very interesting video that I'd like you to watch, and we can talk about it in the discussion post if you like for week 1. It is a look at the DP cinematographer Christopher Doyle, who works in the Hong Kong market. He's an Australian-born artist who works in China, in Hong Kong. And he works quite frequently with the notable Chinese director Wong Kar-wai, who has given us many films in the past and several collaborations with Christopher Doyle, 17 I believe, the most notable of which is In the Mood for Love. So take a look at the discussion about Christopher Doyle and In the Mood for Love, and it is hosted by I believe it's Channel Chriswell, who is, or the Nerd Writer, I'm sorry, the Nerd Writer, sorry to the Nerd Writer, who I think is a very eloquent and intuitive writer who talks about theme and meaning behind cinema. He has a number of wonderful videos that he's put out. So check out the link to In the Mood for Love by the Nerd Writer. And look for me here every Tuesday night, folks. Lighting this month is Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific and 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for checking in with me, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Good night.